Hey, everybody, on today's Locked On Bama, what a weekend. Lord have mercy. Richard Young commits. Keon Keeley is visiting and has Notre Dame fans in a panic. Uh, Alabama could be on the verge of another flip watch for a tight end. Interesting. And then I got to go to the basketball scrimmage, and I can't wait to wax poetic about everything I saw. We're going to talk about all that and more on today's Locked On Bama.
Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama. Luke Robinson, that's me. Jimmy Stein, that's him. Jimmy, how are you today?
I am doing outstanding. What a freaking weekend. I've almost not been able to get things done because there's Alabama stuff happening every 2 minutes.
First of all, thank you guys for making us your first listen. Thank you for so many subscribers. We got a ton of subscribers over the weekend, man. You guys are the best. Appreciate you so much. Let's talk. I'm so giddy about the basketball team. I'm so tempted to start with that, but I know this is mostly football only Gumps podcast. There are some basketball plus football people, but mostly it's a football thing. So we're going to start with Richard Young. And Jimmy, the interesting story there. So, I mean, you're with On3. You're connected. I got connections. I've talked to people. And Friday afternoon, I'm just sort of walking around the house. And a friend of mine texted me like out of the blue this GIF of, I think it was like Matt Foley being really excited or something. And I was like, ha ha. And I was like, why is he doing this? And then I started thinking, the guy sent me another GIF and it was like, I'm so excited, I can't stand it. And I didn't want to say what, because I was like, okay, now he's talking to me as if I'm supposed to know what he's excited about. So I said, I better just check Twitter. And I checked Twitter and Richard Young had committed. And I was thinking, oh, I get it now. This is a huge deal. Richard Young, correct me if I'm wrong, out of the blue, commits to Alabama. Oddly, earlier in the day, one recruiting national expert had crystal balled him to Oregon, and just weird, wild stuff. Regardless, Alabama now has the two top running backs in this class, and that's pretty dang crazy. But Richard Young is an absolute beast.
Yeah, I even went back and looked. A lot to say about it, but I even went back and looked, Luke, at that incredible class where Alabama signed Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara, Alti Tenpenny, and Tyron Jones in the same group, which was the last time Alabama did something just unbelievable with running backs. And I went back and looked, and per the On3 consensus, and everybody's going to have different rankings, but the On3 consensus is a a combination of everyone's rankings, given equal weight to all of it. And Derrick Henry was the number one back in the On3 consensus. And the second best back in that group was Kamara, who was number 9. And Tenpenny was number 10. And like Tyron Jones was like number 16 or something. But the point is, even in that group, Alabama didn't sign, the number 1 and the number 3 back. I mean, so even though this is 2 and not 4, this is really even more incredible, landing both Richard Young and Justice Haynes in the same group, particularly on a day where it's seeming that Oregon was gaining some momentum with Richard Young. I think both things can be true. I think Oregon finished a strong second. I think he was open to Oregon and was probably telling Oregon all the things they wanted to hear, like so many of these kids do. They don't like disappointing coaches that they have a long relationship with. And as we know, he's very tight with Dante Moore, the quarterback that's committed to Oregon. Richard and Dante are really good friends. And so I think both things could have been true. And I'm with you, Luke. We often get a heads up. We often even know what's going to happen. In this case, not only did we not get a heads up and did we not know what's going to happen, when he committed on Twitter, it was a complete shock. Now, we weren't shocked at On3 in the sense that we had projected Richard Young to commit to Alabama, and we felt it was something that could happen before the season. We just didn't know it would happen Friday at 5:30. Otherwise, I would not have been in Walmart 2 cities away from my hometown.
Yes, I was muted, but I caught it.
You did. There was only one word. Word was missed.
Regardless, Yeah, that was exciting. It does remind me, and I keep telling this story about how I remember during the ice storm of God, what was that? 2000, I can't remember, 16 maybe? Was that when the
Yeah.
ice storm? No, maybe 15 or 14. Whatever it was. That's
One
when
down. I know when we have one down here on the coast, it was approximately that time. I assume y'all got ice as well. It was the strangest ice storm of my lifetime down here in about 2016. Sounds right.
well, first of all, last time you had an ice storm on the Gulf Coast, I think it was prehistoric times. But
No, we had.
Jurassic
I
area.
even my ass on the. I slipped and fell, and not fell. I felt like it was a cartoon. I mean, it was like a cartoon. During that ice storm, I tried to walk on the sidewalk before it was safe to do so. There's even a sign up that said, "Don't walk on the sidewalk. There's ice." And I'm like, "Oh, I'll just walk real slow," and thought I'd be fine. And I literally not only fell. I think when I fell, all four of my limbs were like pointing straight up in the air, like a cartoon. Like I didn't fall. I was like 3 foot up in the air, arms up, legs up, and landed flat on my back. Oh, and that was, and I learned my lesson. I had that. I richly deserved that terrible spill. So yeah.
Okay. Well, what it reminds me of is Marlon Humphrey committing. I remember looking at my phone going, oh my God, Marlon Humphrey just committed. Like it was so out of the blue, random. And that's what Richard Young did. And I appreciate that. I mean, it's sort of good not to, Aiden Mizell, I think is his name, who the wide receiver just committed to Florida, had 2 baby alligators. Okay, that's super cool in a way. But in another way, it's already been done. No, not with alligators, but with puppies and every other kind of animal. So, it's maybe sometimes simpler is just better. And Richard Young was super simple, and I appreciate him. Jimmy, let's go ahead and tell everybody about LinkedIn. They're our new sponsors. Been a sponsor for a while now, and we appreciate it so much. As you gear up for the fall, you need the right people on your team to help small businesses fire on all cylinders. LinkedIn Jobs is here to make it easier to find the people you want to talk to faster and for free. Create a free job post in minutes on LinkedIn Jobs to reach your network and beyond to the world's largest professional network of over 810 million people. LinkedIn Jobs helps you find the candidates you want to talk to and helps you do it faster. Did you know every week nearly 40 million job seekers visit LinkedIn? Post your job for free at linkedin.com/lockedoncollege. That's linkedin.com/lockedoncollege to post your job for free. Terms and conditions may and probably will apply. All right, let me see if there's any other thing I got to just throw out there. There's not. Okay, good. Every now and again, I got to make a check. I'm going to talk basketball now. We'll talk a little bit more recruiting in the third segment. But, Jimmy, if you would just humor me for a second as I go through this.
Yeah, I'm here.
I got to go to the scrimmage, and I got to go with my buddy Brian Passink, who's the color commentator for Bama basketball. Now, he's been to some practices. He's already seen everything, but I talked him into going, and it was cool. Got to see Chris Stewart was there, obviously. The crowd ended up being very nice. I don't know what if there won't be an announced crowd, but if you're going to tell me there was 800,000 people there, I can buy it. I can certainly buy it. So was very happy with that. The play was fantastic. God, we're so much better. And I know there are going to be some people like, well, of course, you think we're better. You're a Bammer and you're whatever. Man, I have no problem calling a spade, especially when it comes to Alabama basketball. I've seen some bad Alabama basketball over the last 20 years. So I'm telling you right now, Brandon Miller, if he's not a top 5 pick, I will be shocked. I will be mildly surprised. If he's not a lottery pick, I will be shocked. The guy is unreal. Every time we needed a bucket, he was like, I think I'll just go score. And it didn't matter if it was NBA range 3 or if it was a smooth take to the rack where he had to have body control because, he is going up against Charles. I got to go player by player. So let me just stick with that. Brandon Miller, potential first-team All-American. Okay, I've said it, potentially. Now, doesn't mean I'm guaranteeing it. He's the best freshman I've seen Alabama have. Wow. I mean, Colin Sexton was different because Colin was so good and he was on a team that wasn't very good. He kind of made that team. I mean, without him, if Alabama plays 3-on-5 against Minnesota, they lose by 50. But with him, Alabama almost won the dang thing. Collins different in a different position, so maybe it's hard. See, Brandon Miller is going up against other dudes who I will talk about in a minute who are also really, really good. So I think Brandon Miller is the best freshman I've seen Alabama have. And, Brian Robinson was good. James Hollywood Robinson was good. Boy, he might be the best freshman that I remember, honestly. He's different, y'all. I'm telling you, used to Noah Clowney. This is a guy that I'm on board now. There have been some people that have told me this guy should have been a 5-star. Count me among those people. He had several great bucks. He's tough. He's strong. He does not mind mixing it up, and he's got an antibody. Noah Clowney, another good player. Jaden Bradley had a couple of air balls. Let me just throw that out there. This dude is going to remind you, and I think Pasink actually said this. I'll give him credit for this. He said he was almost a mix of Ronald Steele and Terry Connor. Now, those are two old school guys for some of the folks that listen, but trust me, that's a good thing. He's not going to be the most – he is not Colin Sexton athletic, but that doesn't mean he's not athletic. It means he's not Colin Sexton. He's different. He's more of a control guy, Chris Paulish type game versus Morant type game, if you know what I'm saying. And Jimmy, feel free to cut me off anytime. I don't mean to.
I'm enthralled. I'm hanging on every word.
Mark Sears, liked him a lot. You're going to really like him in the sense that he's tough. He will get in the lane and he doesn't overshoot. But he can shoot. He's not the best three-pointer shooter on the team, but he can shoot it, and he made a few. And he had some really nice passes. Nemari Burnett is another guy people want to talk about. He was off at first. He missed his first couple of threes. And here's another thing I noticed about Nemari Burnett. Every now and again, he sets up in the corner so deeply. If you play basketball, if you get all the way in the corner, you're behind the backboard. He shot his first two shots, or two of his first three, I think, were from literally behind the backboard, but a three-point shot. And I finally dawned on me, he likes that shot. He kept going there. He started out cold, ended up being really, really good. He might have had 20. I don't remember. I saw all the stats. By the way, Brandon Miller had 30, and he could have had 45 if he had been a bit more.
And it was right. I mean, it wasn't 2 20-minute halves either. No, I don't think
it was. They played. The rules are going to play by in Europe, and so they used the same ball they're going to use in Europe. They played 4 10-minute quarters.
Okay, so it was a 40-minute game. Okay,
it was a 40-minute game. Darius Miles. First of all, what I think you're going to like about Darius Miles the most, he just does whatever you need. Now he's not the strongest one out there, but he can jump and he's athletic. I hated this for him. I can't tell you how much I hated this for him because I really like Darius Miles, and I think he's also the guy on the team that brings some levity. Like he sort of loosens everybody up.
I've heard he's the funniest guy on the team.
And he's a cool dude. I love me some Darius Miles, and he can play, and he's super athletic. Brandon Miller blocked a breakaway dunk attempt that the whole crowd could see coming. Darius Miles could win a slam dunk contest, and Brandon Miller blocked his dunk attempt with such ease that it's on Twitter. It was like, I can't believe there's no chance. I'm going to say maybe 10, 15% of basketball players in college basketball could have blocked that dunk attempt. I'm dead serious. And then he got another breakaway. Miles was going to, take it strong, but kind of lay it up, not be as aggressive. And he did it again. Brandon Miller came out of nowhere and did it again. I'm not trying to tell you Darius Miles isn't going to be good. He hit some threes later, and I was glad to see him come back from that because these two things happened within about 2 game minutes of one another, and the crowd was just buzzing. And, I felt bad for him. I was like, I've been there when you get your shot blocked by somebody, and all of a sudden you're like, man, maybe I can't. But he just got right back on his horse and kept playing hard. I appreciate Darius Miles. Nick Pringle didn't see as much of him as I thought I would. In the warm-ups, here's something I noticed in the warm-ups. And I asked Pasink about this, and he was like, he didn't really remember. But everybody was dunking with such ease, like just sort of walking up and cocking it back and throwing it down. Pringle's elbows were at the rim. I'm not kidding. And then he brought it back, and I thought he was going to hit his elbows, and he dunked it. And I said, I don't remember any Alabama team doing this with such ease in warmups. Now, McDyess could do it. Caffey could do it. Sprewell could do it, but not the whole group. Clowney was doing it.
This is it's a long team, other than the point guards, obviously, other than Sears and Bradley. It's a long team. I mean, they're tall in the backcourt. They're tall 2 through 5.
Dominic Welch, you guys are going to like him. He's a hustler. He's not a complainer. He plays like a seasoned vet. By the way, Nemari Burnett also, I meant to say this, had 2 great, and I mean great assists off of offensive rebounds in the third quarter. One of them, a rebound sort of came into him and he was facing the other way like the ball, and he just sort of turned and he tapped it back behind his back to, I think, Pringle, who had a dunk. It was really showing that he's got some good vision. Rylan Griffin, this guy can stroke it. Really liked him a lot. He also had a from underneath the basket, 2 feet, jump up, dunk it two-handed moment. You know, for a guy, I mean, they got him listed at 6'5", so he's probably 6'3.5". He showed me that he's got some hops about him, which was nice. Oh, Noah Gurley, one of the most improved Alabama players in a year that I've seen. I was shocked how smart he was, how good he was. He was able to the offense. I saw somebody complaining about the offense who went. He said they felt like there wasn't enough motion. I think the offense was okay. If we've got 3 big guys out there at once, and Noah Gurley's one of them, there's going to be somebody small on him. So we worked it around, cleared out, let Noah Gurley back his man in, and he would nail it every time. Noah Gurley played a great game, had a nice 3. Bediako's legs are still really skinny. There's nothing you can do about that. His upper body looks different, looks a lot different than last year. And Bediako did not play his best game. I saw another friend of mine, he said this well at the scrimmage. He said, Bediako sort of disappeared in this game. And that's a good way to put it, because you just didn't notice he was out there. Now, of course, Clowney was doing his thing, Miller doing his thing, Bradley doing his thing, Griffin, everybody, Burnett, Gurley. So somebody's got to get lost, right? But I'll tell you, this is one thing that gave me a lot of hope about Bediako for next year. If anything, last year I felt like he was a little too mechanical. This particular game, there was a rebound that bounced off to the right. He was underneath the basket, was able to jump at a 45-degree angle, take it, and try and tip it. It didn't go. But what I said to people around me was he couldn't do that last year. Athletically, he couldn't. So, I mean, I'm happy he's able to have better movement. I'm trying to see if there's anybody else I want. Let me tell you a guy you're going to like, Delaney Hurd. This is a walk-on. He's apparently his 3rd year at Alabama. He's number 12 in your program, number 1 in your heart. He's from Canton, Georgia. Says he played at Oak Hill Academy, though. That guy was a lot of fun to watch. He hit some threes. He played really good defense. He's just a walk-on that just cares. He is a glue guy. I mentioned this name. He's like Leor Berman in a way for Auburn. Leor Berman is the son of a friend of mine. I wish Leor had gone to Alabama. I really do. Leor's a great player. And I feel like Hurd is kind of in that same mold, like never going to complain. He's just going to work his tail off. And, man, he's pretty good. I mean, like if any other Alabama team – boy, I bet you 7 of the last Alabama teams, he'd be in the rotation. 7 of the last 10 Alabama teams, he'd be in the rotation. I talked about just about everybody else, I guess. I mean, obviously Quinterly didn't play. Mark Sears, I talked about. I'm trying to look down the list. If there's somebody specific anybody wants to ask me about, I'm going to tell you this. Put me on the super giddy, going to be totally overly optimistic basketball train. I'm telling you, we're good. We're better than last year. The chemistry is already better, and Brandon Miller is better than anybody we had on the team last year, and it's not close.
Wow. Yeah, Barry, I'd heard a lot of whispers, seen some people bragging. Even Nate had some comments in the media about Brandon, and obviously watched a lot of his high school tape. Sky's the limit. I mean, the sky's the limit. I sort of like the Jabari Smith comp, in terms of what happened to Auburn. Not because we're apples to apples, Luke. I think Jabari's 6'10" and Brandon 6'8", which makes Jabari slightly more valuable to the NBA. But what I like about the comparison is their skill sets are somewhat similar. I mean, a tall, power forward length but really a guy with 2 guard and 3 guard, a 2 guard and small forward skills, even though they have a college power forward body. But really where I like the comparison, Luke, is the impact. Jabari Smith is literally, even though Auburn was very good, Auburn would have been a good team without him. But Jabari Smith made Auburn one of the best teams in the country at times last year. It was because of Jabari. And even though he was a true freshman, I think Brandon Miller could be similarly impactful to Alabama, like Jabari. Like, if Alabama's a story, it will be because Brandon Miller is a story, right? I mean, and that's why I like the comp.
And not only that, I was really thinking this year that the best player on the team. I mean, Miller obviously I thought would be up there, okay, maybe even the best, right? But then I thought, okay, Nemari Burnett maybe second, and he's very good. Don't get me wrong, I'm not putting him down. At least I like Nemari Burnett. I thought, Betty Akko may be super improved. Noah Clowney's the second best player on the team right now, and I'm telling you, he should have been a 5.
That's the big takeaway from. I'm not surprised based on all I'd heard about Brandon Miller, even as far as you'll go, saying, hey, you'll be mildly surprised if he's not a top 5 pick. I'm not surprised that I'm hearing you say that. The Noah Clowney stuff surprised me. Like that is like super encouraging, because I did hear that Noah Clowney was better than they anticipated, but the extent to which he's clearly impressive, that's fun, because that's the takeaway for me is Noah Clowney.
And any other year, Rylan Griffin may be a story, because I'm telling you, the boy has got a stroke, and
Yeah.
He had some really nice drives too. He's not just a shooter. He had some nice drives. I'm just super pumped. As I told my friend in the hallway when we were talking about this, I hate to be the guy who's like, "Hey, this guy's awesome. This guy's awesome." And my friend said, "Yeah, but they all kind of are playing awesome." All right. Let me tell everybody about BetOnline. BetOnline.net is the fastest and easiest way to check in on all your betting needs. Find all your favorite sports and events at the #1 online source for odds, lines, and games. Find reviews and news of every league, including Major League Baseball, NFL, NBA, NHL, combat sports, esports, and even golf. BetOnline continues to be the top online resource for all your sports wagering information. From live in-game betting, scores, and podcasts, they have you covered whatever you need. Head to BetOnline today or use your mobile device to learn more about the action happening today. BetOnline, where the game starts. All right, Jimmy, we don't have much time this third, but I want you to talk about Keon Keeley, Kyle Lockwood, 2 guys that were in, 2 guys that may be on flip watch, right?
That's right. Now, Keon Keeley is maybe the best player in the country that's not a quarterback. I mean, that's how good he is. He's a pass rusher. He's the #1 edge prospect in the country. He's been committed to Notre Dame for a long time. He's one of these too good to be true guys that Notre Dame's very good about finding and securing, by the way. I mean, he's really smart. He's a great kid. He's an unbelievable football talent. Well, him and his family are very interested in Alabama. This is his second trip. He brought the whole family. They're clearly very, very interested in Alabama. I'm going to call it something to monitor. I don't think it's a certainty that Keon Keeley's going to flip to Alabama by any means. He remains committed to Notre Dame. He may very well stay committed to Notre Dame. If he does flip to Alabama, I'll be really surprised if it's this weekend, Monday, Tuesday. I think he's going to have to take everything under advisement. I mean, they're going to be very careful and deliberate. I think that's how the Keeleys will be, careful and deliberate. But it is definitely something to monitor. I think Alabama has a real shot at Keon Keeley. Ty Lockwood also visited this weekend. He's a tight end from Tennessee, from the Memphis area, I believe. He is committed to Ohio State. He has been since last August. Ohio State, by the way, is an outstanding tight end program. They traditionally sign top tight ends. The fact that they like Lockwood so early is really a good sign. Ohio State later took Jelani Thurman, who Alabama was taking a long look at. So now Ohio State has 2. Piecing 2 and 2 together, it seems like once Ohio State took Thurman, Lockwood started looking around, and Alabama was quickly his favorite. He visited this weekend. I think a flip from Lockwood is more likely than a flip from Keeley, and it's something we could hear from soon. I'll just say that why don't we put him on flip watch, whereas Keon Keeley's a flip possibility.
All right, buddy. I like it. Thanks. And we will be back tomorrow with probably more giddiness about basketball. I don't even think I squeezed in everything I wanted to talk about. I was so impressed.
Hunter Osborne commits Monday, and we're very closely for obvious reasons. Hint, hint. And Ty Lockwood could. I mean, we'll see. I mean, I think if something happens with Ty Lockwood, it's going to happen soon.
All right, buddy. Roll Tide.
Roll Tide.